Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason with RiDetroit. Today, I just wanted to talk and address a few frequently asked questions when people come into the bike shop. Once again, hopefully these help you, the consumer, equip you with the best tools that when you come into a bike shop, it makes the purchase or the rental of your e-bike as easy as possible. So today, we're going to talk about batteries. Are batteries interchangeable? That's a really tricky question because, first of all, you're going to talk about brands. I'm going to say that batteries are and are not interchangeable. If you're talking about brands across, you're not going to really find that unless you're working with like a Bosch. That's really where Bosch, I think, really has it dialed in, is that their connection is really based on the mount. So when you're talking about either you're talking about a Gazelle or if you're talking about a Trek, both of those bikes will have the same mount to connect to each bike. So really, when you're connecting also to a Bosch motor, it does make that rather interchangeable when you think about, can I take a 400 watt battery and put it on another 400 watt battery? So as long as that mount matches, absolutely you can bring that, cross that over. But if you're talking about, necessarily a Bosch battery going with a Samsung mount, that's where you run into problems. So that's where that question gets a little bit tricky. Make sure you ask, if you're once again talking about a Bosch, or just ask or look around, check the internet. But generally, I'm going to say no. From what I know, a Samsung battery is not going to go with a Bosch mount and things of that nature. All right. So I hope that answers the first question. Are e-bike batteries waterproof? Absolutely. Okay. So what we tell people is when they come in is it's just like a bike. What we tell people is do not submerge the bike in a pool of water. Okay. So if you're going out for a bike ride, you're splashing through puddles, yes, it's made to do that. Trust me, these bikes are ridden on way more than a rainy day. They're ridden on mountain bikes. They're ridden all year round in certain countries. So you can definitely get them wet. You don't want to leave them wet per se. So when you get to your destination, you might want to wipe it down with a paper towel or a towel, just like any other thing like that. You want to help maintain it. But otherwise, as long as you're not putting your bike in a pool of water for a ridiculous amount of time, your battery is waterproof. All right. So if you do start to experience some things, once again, this is a great connection to your local shop to go to them, talk about diagnostics, and maybe figuring out the problem if you're experiencing some issues that might be a little bit different. All right. How long will an e-bike battery last? So what I tell people from what I've learned through my training is I tell people you're looking at potentially 3 to 5 years, but before you start to see potential degradation in the motor. Okay, that's once again potential degradation. And why I say that, that's really based on how much you ride and how much wear and tear you put on that battery and things like that. So you're looking at 3 to 5 years. I tell people, and that's full charges from what I understand. So if you're charging your bike from empty to full for the next 3 to 5 years, you could potentially see degradation. But I have yet in all my years of riding e-bikes or in dealing with the industry, have I had a battery come back because it was used in, over a long period of time. It had been overused. All right. So you're looking at 3 to 5 years, I would say, before you potentially start to see any degradation in that. All right. Great question. What happens when an e-bike battery dies? This is another connection, and I will say it till the cows come home. This is another great connection to your local shop. So if you feel like your battery has died, or you take it back to your shop, just return it to your shop. They'll know how to dispose of it. They'll know how to send it back. You are talking about a lithium battery, and there are things you just don't want to throw it in the trash or recycle it. So once again, connect with your local bike shop, and they'll help you get it figured out. Who makes e-bike batteries? Wow, that is a great question as well. There are a lot of manufacturers of batteries. The reason I say there are a lot of manufacturers of batteries is because right now, e-bikes are one of the hottest new pieces of technology. E-bike cell technology is also one of those super crazy things. So all over the place, they're trying to create batteries upon batteries upon batteries. What I would say is go with one of the more reputable battery makers. Once again, no plug to Bosch. Go with a Bosch or a Samsung or any reputable bike company should be working with a reputable bike company. Another good way to deal with that is ask the question of what's the warranty of the battery when you're dealing with purchasing the bike and where you're purchasing the bike from. Generally, that will answer and help you figure out a lot of these questions. All right. Why are e-bike batteries so expensive? That question is kind of an easy one. really the biggest piece of technology on the bike next to the motor is the battery. So unfortunately, when you have something like that, where it's a newer piece of technology, it's going to be more expensive. With that being said, the industry is working really hard to bring that price down. Once we get the price of the batteries down, it'll bring down the price of the entire bike and make it more consumer friendly. And that's the big push. I always say that the industry is really trying to make them go faster, further, but they're also definitely trying to make them more affordable and connect to a market. Where to buy an e-bike battery? That's a tricky question, because 9.9 times out of 10, if you buy an e-bike, it will have a battery. So you shouldn't have to worry about where to buy a battery. However, if you are in the situation where a lot of companies like a Reese Mueller or a Trek or Turn, all of those companies have the options for a dual battery, you can definitely, once again, refer to your local bike shop. We know how to order you a Bosch battery. We can usually get it to you within 7 to 10 days. It's an easy thing to do. This is where I say pro tip. When you start getting into those online bikes and all that stuff, you're really gonna run into a hard time locating the parts that you need, especially when you're talking about technology. So I cannot drive the point home enough. Buy local, buy from your local shop. They will know how and when to replace and take care of your bike. That's it. That was a ton of amazing questions. I'm loving that they're coming in like this. Keep them coming to us. Drop more in the comments if we didn't cover something that you feel like we missed out on talking about battery, because there is a lot to cover. We could have talked about wattages and things like that. But my point in this is to drive you really to have more communication with your local shop. So those are the type of questions, and those vary per bike. So when you go look for a bike, ask them, hey, what's the wattage on this? You know, what type of this, longevity am I getting out of this? What type of mileage am I looking at? All right, because all of that varies per bike. Thank you for tuning in again. Once again, I'm Jason with RiDetroit. Do me a favor before you take off. Make sure you hit a like, leave a comment, and do us a favor, hit the subscribe button so we can keep giving you awesome content like this. All right, see you guys later.